This week we are in a Torah portion called, who can tell me? Can anyone tell me the Torah portion? Anybody? Ki Tavo. All right, we're in Ki Tavo. We're getting towards the end of the Torah reading cycle. And we get to this very uncomfortable moment where you can see where Jewish law and custom, how would you say this nicely, overlaps with obsessive compulsive disorder. Okay, so there's a reading in this week's Torah portion that when the Israelites enter the land, they're supposed to pronounce these sets of either blessings from one spot or curses from another spot. And there's a lovely section in the text where you read through all these, blessed be you in the country, and blessed be you in the city, blessed be you while you're driving on the 405, and blessed be you on the 5, and blessed be you on the 118, right? And if you should not obey my laws, curse and may 3 lanes be closed to the Sepulveda Pass, and may the 118 be, right? So this is a long list. Blessed are you if you follow the covenant, cursed are you if you don't follow the covenant. Does anybody know the OCD thing that we do with this text? Anybody ever seen that OCD thing we do? So if you see the text read, or rather if you hear the text read, you will hear that the blessings are said out loud in a normal tone, but the curses are said quickly, quietly, like whisper, get through it fast. The Babylonian Talmud in Masechet Megillah, in the section called Megillah, but not only about Megillah, explains that this is to avoid prolonging suffering, the mental suffering of us thinking about these curses that we might have in store for us. The curses are included. We don't get rid of them. But we don't deny them either because we can't deny them. They're included in the text in the same way as both positive and negative things are included in our lives. But like with negative stuff in our lives, we try to read through them quickly, sweep them under the rug, and move on. Slide number 2. By the way, if you couldn't see slide number 1, well, it's a guy reading Torah with people like shushing him, which is always an entertaining thing when it happens. All right, so slide number 2. This is a book by Pascal Bruckner. He's a noted French philosopher. And so basically, what I've been talking about with this temptation to be quiet about stuff that's not going well, this is very familiar to us. Especially familiar since the rise of social media and the presentation of what used to be the Christmas card letter or the Christmas letter. All my kids are super, like, they're all 6'4" and they can all dunk a basketball and they all, right? This wonderful positive thing that you have to say. Everything's great. The kids are great. Work is great. The car is great. Everything's great. But our curses, the failures, people who lose a job, people who are anxious, they don't put that out there on social media. So we live this life of, does anyone remember Prairie Home Companion? Yes. It's an old NPR show, Prairie Home Companion, and there was a line in the show where there's a town where all the children are above average. Everything's great all the time, nothing's ever wrong. The problem is, that's not how life is. And we end up with what Pascal Bruckner calls the duty to be happy, this pressure that we feel that happiness is an obligation. If you're not happy in your life in some way, you've failed. You're not doing enough self-care. You haven't won the lottery correctly. There's something you have not done, and it's your fault that you're not happy. So if you're not happy, keep quiet, because you don't want anybody to know what a failure you are because you aren't a happy person. Because everyone around you is happy all of the time, as we know. So we're Jews. I'm surprised there's not more laughing at everyone's happy all the time. But if you're not fine, quiet down, pipe down. We don't want to hear about it. Is your knee hurt? We don't want to hear about it. Lost your money in the stock market? We don't want to hear about it. Cossacks? We don't want to hear about it. So, right, we are, oh, the slides are a little out of order. That's okay. So when this happens, it makes me think of The Office. Who here watched The Office during quarantine? During the lockdown? So The Office, or not during the lockdown, The Office is a show, and it takes place in a paper selling company. And the premise is that everything is supposed to be like great in the company. They're all the characters are kind of misfits, and everything's constantly going wrong. And so there's this fake cheer that they demand from the employees even when stuff is collapsing. And the fake cheer is led by the fake cheerleader, Michael Scott, who we find out at some point he has a coffee cup all the time in the show. So I don't know how many people. It turns out to be filled with vodka. You find out late in the show. So it's not as great as he presents things. So what we've seen, we saw this what we would call, there's a phrase, it's a great mitzvah to always be happy. It's often cited by Breslaver Hasidim, that you're supposed to be happy. It's a way of serving God. That's not always been our Jewish way of doing things. But there's been a backlash to this American idea of constant happiness. And it's been a backlash within the Jewish sphere, and it's through traditional study of what are called Musar texts. And these are texts that I guess they a little bit overlap with cognitive behavioral therapy, one might say, but they're pairs of emotions. Rather than saying like, you've got to be happy or you've got to be industrious, there's a chapter on industriousness and there's a chapter on laziness. And industriousness, being hardworking, is great some of the time, and being lazy is great some of the time. It's great. Does anybody know when being lazy is great? Shabbat. Being lazy, resting for holiness is great. So each emotion has its time and its place. One of the main works of Musar, Mesilat Yesharim, teaches that our purpose is not to deny our emotions, but to navigate them honestly. More recently, there have been a number of great Musar books that come out, and one's called Everyday Holiness. It's very popular. You see a lot of young rabbinical students who are quite taken with this book. And it puts it pretty plainly. The point of life is not to be perfect, he says. It's to be honest about the soul traits that drive us. Anger, fear, envy, pride. They don't vanish if we just talk about them in a whisper. They're always there. They only actually change when we name them out loud, when we say them out loud. So this is essentially a sermon against denial. That's the work of this season right now, leading up to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. To think not only about the great stuff and the things we've done well, but about the spots where we've fallen short, where we could do better, or where things have not gone well. Because that allows us to do the most human of all things, which is to hope for a better year ahead. Honestly, life is not all blessings and wonderful stuff shouted from mountaintops. And it's also not all terrible. It's not all curses. But the holiness, the thing that makes us like God, the spark of divinity that we have, is refusing to deny any of the parts of ourselves. So may we have the courage to proclaim our blessings with gratitude and the strength to face our curses with fear, the wisdom to support one another through both. May this Shabbat and may this high holidays renew us with the honesty and the humility to live fully with our curses and our blessings alike. Shabbat Shalom. We'll continue now with Elenu, which I'm glad to say we have a Daryl Sutton is going to lead us in Elenu. Daryl, come on up. Please rise for Elenu. It's on 282.